Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on episode 8 of the You'll Have That podcast. Today, we got a nice slew of topics. I again forgot to change the topic, but I'll title. Uh, but I'm joined by my lovely co hosts, Twisted. Oh, sorry, there, Twiz, yep. Jaboon, right hither. Hello.
It's Japan.
Yeah, we got a nice couple things to talk about today. Just kind of relax and have a chat. Noah's in the chat. Hey Noah, how you doing?
I
Um,
know.
Up, Noah.
so I'm gonna start things off while I fix the title here. Did you guys know that Windows 11 actually just expanded its list of CPU compatible CPUs and stuff? So you guys know how like in Windows 11 to upgrade you had to have the TPM thing, and then there was only a certain amount of CPUs and all that. So yeah, what do we think about that? How are we looking here for Microsoft?
Honestly, I think that it's a good move. It was a dumb move of them to do it in the first place with the TPM and all of that, but good on you, I guess.
So does this mean there's still a TPM requirement or no?
I think there is, but they just kind of expanded it to a few older Intel processors and the newer ones too, the officially supported list, I should say, because you can still technically circumvent the old TPM thing and all that.
It's
But
kind
yeah,
of jank to have to go through that.
it is definitely a little janky. You can tell it's not meant to do that, but it is a thing you could do. I remember doing it on my old i7 5820K. That's back on the X99 platform.
You
But
had
yeah.
to do it on my old laptop too.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Your old laptop. That's true. Yep, that is correct.
All I have to say is it's about damn time. We're how late are we now into Windows 11?
Oh
3,
gosh.
4 years?
Yeah, it's been a few years now.
Like that should have been priority number one, especially for people who are still on older software that want to have a more up to date and secure operating system.
Well, they were still doing security updates and stuff for Windows 10. So,
Yeah, I mean they were, but I'm just saying like some people, as much as as much shit as Windows 11 got at launch, it has gotten better. And I eventually did end up making the switch as well. I was on Windows 10 for a good couple years, and I only just now swapped. But hey, good on you, Microsoft. Keep it up.
honestly,
Yeah.
as long as nothing's as shitty as Windows 8 was, I'm
Then
fine.
we're good. As long as we're not
Oh
having a
god, Windows
fucking,
8.
as long as we're not
Oh
having a mobile interface for a fucking computer, we're good.
yeah, Windows 8, man. That was rough. 8,
That
8.1. Mm-mm.
rough is an understatement, bro. I don't know how they thought that was okay.
When you made your desktop feel like a phone, like
When your phone felt more like a desktop than your desktop.
yeah, exactly. The Windows Phone. Uh, which actually I kind
Ugh.
of want to talk about that a little bit. The Windows Phone was actually kind of a cool concept because you could plug it in, and you know how like now Samsung phones has Samsung decks.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Well, with the Windows Phone, you could actually plug it in and have a similar experience, but it was like a mobile Windows sort of thing that looked very much like Windows 8, pretty much. So that was really cool. I had this was way back when I was going for cybersecurity, and I actually had a few of my colleagues per se, or that used to use that kind of in the networking as a last ditch troubleshooting sort of thing because you didn't need to haul around a laptop or a desktop, and if you're in a corporate or enterprise environment, you really don't have all the luxury of carrying around all that heavy equipment because sometimes you're swapping out servers, sometimes you're putting in heavy equipment that requires two or three people, right? So it's nice to just have a little device you could plug in with your Type C to USB, and then you can run some diagnostics or something. That was pretty cool. And then the main problem with the Windows Phone obviously was the developers. No one wanted to develop for it, so it really kind of just died. Do you guys remember the Windows Phone? Do you have any fond
Yeah.
memories of that?
I have fond
Not
memories with it.
fond.
I mean,
Not
yeah, not
fond.
fond, but I remember it quite well.
Uh,
I remember seeing when it came out. I wanted to get one, but I was
Yeah.
just like, I think that died faster than like it's not started, but it died out very quick.
I got the Windows Phone about 3 or 4 months after it launched and
Oh.
returned it 3 days later.
Wow. What was your problem with it? Why did you return it so fast?
It just didn't have all the features I was looking for coming from Samsung. At that time, I think I had, like, the Note, maybe not even a Note. I think it was like the S4 or the S5 or something like that. Um, it felt cheap. It
I think
didn't seem to
Nokia
be
they took Nokia over and used Nokia as their phone, right?
probably, yeah, but it just didn't seem to be as fast as Samsung was.
Hmm.
Um, the app store itself was very, very finicky. Um, the phone would crash a lot. It
Oh
was
yeah,
just
yeah.
it was just issue after issue. So I returned it within the 14-day grace period
There
and
you go.
actually got charged a restocking fee. So
Oh wow,
Ooh, add
dang.
insult to injury. I think it would have
yeah,
been better if it came out at a later time.
Yeah, I kind of get what you're saying.
I think
They
it's still a
invested a
niche market
lot.
though
It
too.
That's
So
true. That's true. They did invest a lot into like Nokia because they bought out Nokia for that specific reason. But yeah, it's just I don't know. I think the software was just not there. It was very very simplistic. As Twist said, it was buggy, very buggy actually.
sound like what we are very familiar with in today's, marketing and
I would
games and technology, half baked.
Yeah.
I would have to reopen like the YouTube app, for example, like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
Like I'd get it opened, click a video, and it would just sit there.
Mm.
So I'd have to close it, open YouTube, go back to that video, click the video, it would sit there. It's like,
Not something you want to
nah,
deal with
bruh.
on your
No,
expensive phone.
absolutely not. No. Um. Well, yeah, you'll have that, but on lighter news here, actually, I do want to talk about some really, really uplifting news that I think is very exciting for the whole industry. Um, Ghost of Tsushima has been actually confirmed and announced that it's coming to Steam in 2 months, about 2 months.
I actually didn't
Oh,
hear about that. When was this announced?
I just found out, I think yesterday. I think Twiz can confirm, right?
yeah, it was yesterday.
Now
But
this is,
now,
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
finally, they announced that. But now I feel like I've been bamboozled into buying a PS5.
This to play at 60 FPS for Ghost of Tsushima, right?
Yeah.
With the higher graphics. But I mean, hey, we'll take those W's. I mean, Sony's taking those W's now too. It seems like they're actually coming around.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Is like this is crazy to think that Microsoft kind of they went ahead and started it, and then Sony's now is like, okay, you guys have Helldivers. All right, well, finally, after decades of people wanting Ghost of Tsushima on PC, we're doing
I
it.
wouldn't say decades.
No, I was exaggerating there. But we're doing it finally, and it's 2 months actually. It's literally coming out in 2 months. You can wishlist it on Steam right now, or sorry, pre-order it even.
Well,
Um,
now my next question is this going to be are they going to do this with all the games? And if they are they going to release it for PC, you know, a little faster, or are they going to continue the fad where they wait years, like 4 years, I believe is how old Ghost of Tsushima is, to finally release.
I'm glad you brought that up because we can take a direct look into GTA, for example. Do we know that GTA has an exclusivity deal with PlayStation for I think what is it, 2 years, right?
I'm not sure.
Well, it's some amount of time before PC gets it. So it's like okay, you can meet us halfway, I suppose, with starting out with Ghost of Tsushima coming to PC finally, which they did technically say it would happen in the beginning. Even it's just taken a really long time for some reason. Um, but it's really really nice to see that Sony recently with Helldivers and now this. I'm really hoping that this is the start of something really nice, and we're not gonna be locked behind major exclusivities anymore, and it's gonna be open to Xbox, PC, and PlayStation. I think that's the most consumer friendly and pro consumer move. And at that point, I'd be like, look, if you can't afford a PC, sure, get a PlayStation. You're gonna get the same games. It's just all in one package. It's cheaper. It is what it is. What do you guys think about that though?
I mean, I think it's pretty good. Like we saw God of War come out on PC. What was it? And I think was it early 2023 or halfway through 2023?
Mm-hmm.
Still waiting on
And
Ragnarok.
so yeah, I mean, so in a Ragnarok, now we have the DLC that came out as well, which that was pretty cool. That they went ahead and gave us that for free.
Yeah.
Then you had Helldivers 2 come out on PC on launch, which was actually very surprising. Was it
Mhm.
on launch or was it a few days after? I don't
No,
know
it was on
exactly.
launch. It
Oh, it was
both
on
released
launch.
same day. Yeah.
So that was a pretty big. That was really surprising. And then you have Ghost of Tsushima coming out of nowhere in just 2 months. It's
And
just like you say. Are we gonna see them like just slowly start bringing everything over to PC? Can we
it,
have our fingers crossed and finally get Bloodborne
dude,
on PC?
and I was literally about to also bring that up. Is I think the next logical step here is Bloodborne.
It's either
Everyone's been waiting on
Bloodborne or God
Bloodborne.
of War Ragnarok.
Right, and if they remaster Bloodborne and release it on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, like that's
It
it.
doesn't even need a remaster. The graphics are perfect the way they are, in my opinion. They have
They're
like that
good. I
old
played
rundown
it.
style.
I think it's a little dated for today. When I say remaster, I mean like just touching up the graphics. You don't have to like redo the whole
I'll say
thing.
just if you really want to up the textures a little bit, give us some more shadows and stuff to play with, or
Mm-hmm.
shadows. I can't speak English today. Um, Scalable resolution, all that. Just
Mm-hmm.
some simple things that make the big difference. Let
Yep.
people come in with some reshade and all that, and you're all set.
Oh, and I'm sure the mod scene would be insane for this. There would be
Oh,
so many mods.
100%.
Yeah.
There's already randomizers on console.
Oh
So
wow, really? Okay, I didn't know that.
if I remember correctly, yeah, I think somebody made a randomizer mod, and you also had a 60 FPS patch if you jailbreak your PS4, PS5.
Wow, so
So
if they're going, all the way to do mods on PlayStation, then I'm sure PC would be full of them, right?
the demand is there, and there's people that know the source code enough of the game to be able to make it to that playable experience.
Oh yeah.
So if they end up bringing it to, PC, I think that'd be a pretty big W for FromSoft and for Sony.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if it's I think it's From Software's hands that are tied in this in the regards that I think Sony has the exclusivity rights to it, right? Um
Yeah, it's because they partner. It's only been released on PS4.
okay, so yeah, there you go. So I think From Software obviously would not mind at all to release it on PC and Xbox in a heartbeat.
I think they would love to. I think because
Absolutely.
Miyazaki himself is one of his favorite games that he's made, if not his favorite in the series.
Right. Oh wow, okay, I didn't know it was his favorite. That's awesome. Twiz, what do you think here? Is this finally us seeing Sony turn over here? Are they finally going a little bit pro consumer?
It's a possibility. I'm hoping so. I really am, and it might be a case of they realize that you know people want this, and they'll probably make some of the money that they're going to be losing from the refunds they're offering for Suicide Squad.
Yeah, so Suicide Squad. Oh boy. Live service done wrong.
That game was a mess. That was really bad.
Yeah.
Mess is an understatement. Who was the studio that made that one again? I didn't look into the studio.
One sec. I will check for you.
Because I've been seeing news about that game left and right. It's like it just cannot escape controversy.
It's Rocksteady.
Rock, I have not heard that developer before. That's another. I have not heard that dev team before.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily. Yeah, okay, so it has around 250 team members, so it's not a huge studio by any means. They're
Mhm.
located in the UK. So
That sounds like with a big IP like that and having barely anybody working on the game and it being quote
They
unquote live service.
they definitely did not rock steady.
They did not rock steady. Not at
no,
all.
no, they did
No,
not.
sir.
So I feel like the issues with this game kind of it starts from the very start, right? So they started development on this game back when there was like this little bit of interest of like the Suicide Squad and
Whenever the movies were coming out.
yeah, the movies were coming out and people kind of were somewhat interested in like this weird spin-off. Copyright. All right, anyways, so anyways, as I was saying, sorry about that. Yeah, so basically there was this little interest back then when the movies started coming out of like the bad guys winning, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like they were like, all right, so maybe people want to see this in the game, right? And it just took way too long. No one has the interest for this anymore. No one really wants this, right? And it's done so like egregiously. It's way overly monetized. It's very clunky. The jiboonery is real, Noah, absolutely.
Jiboonery is real. Isn't like Suicide Squad the movie in itself at what 7, 8 years old now?
Oh
Like,
gosh, yeah, it's been a while. I don't know if it's 7 or 8, but
and I
it's
remember when the movie came out, it was already kind of mid. Like it had a good premise, but the execution was terrible. Now sounds like that's exactly what we're dealing with the game release here.
yes. The
Oh, the
first one,
game release is even worse than the movie.
And that's saying
which
a
is
lot considering the movie.
yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the movie it wasn't the best it could have been, but
Wasn't terrible.
it was a fun watch. You know, it's nothing that you're gonna rewatch multiple times or anything, but it was a okay watch.
It was fun to watch the boy.
And I know Twiz here is actually a fan of, I think, Suicide Squad, but for me, I watched the first Suicide Squad, and then I was like, not really for me.
Well, I'm not necessarily a fan of the Suicide Squad, but I am a DC fan. I like a lot of the Batman. I wouldn't say the Batman movies. I prefer the comic adaptation
Oh, okay.
of the graphic novels and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Now there little caveat to that. There are some of the Batman movies that I thoroughly enjoyed. Um, but not all of them are you know grand slams or anything like that. So you know that's to be expected. But no, like I said, the first Suicide Squad movie was decent. The second one, I'm trying to remember it, to be honest.
That's how you know it was rough. We can't remember.
So you know, on that end, actually, was that the one where the chick turns into like the panther or whatever? Yeah, I think it was. Yeah,
All I know
it.
is the first one was like, okay, and then the second one had zero interest. It flopped very hard.
I mean, same can be said for Wonder Woman.
Oh God, 1984. That was a that was terrible. That was truly terrible.
And what about God, the Thor movie with the screaming goat? What was that called?
Love and Thunder or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one
So
sucked.
you know, DC has its flops, and so does Marvel. That's
I'm
in the
not at all saying
industry.
it's a Marvel versus DC thing. I'm just saying the
Right.
Suicide Squad itself. I think the second one kind
Yeah.
of interest dwindled down a lot, and then was there even a third one? I don't even know.
No,
There was
No.
okay. There's one.
There was
Okay.
just a second one. I honestly think that they would have done better had they done like some sort of maybe a series, or maybe even the movies would have probably done better had they not been live action.
I was just saying, maybe like an animated, like kind of a cartoon style series or movie probably would have been a banger.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
There are not many animated Batman movies that are not just fire, in my opinion. They normally do the Batman movies a lot of justice when they're animated.
Definitely fair. Definitely fair. And I think that it kind of goes to say here that the interest in the movies feels like what happened with the game, in the sense that no one really wanted this. Like, this is so overdue that no one cared.
I didn't even hear about the game until it released, and it was a flop.
I was kind of tracking it a little bit in the sense
So-
that like a little bit before it came out, I think a month or so, reviewers were already saying that this is not going to be good, it's going to be a flop. And instead of the developer taking that feedback and delaying the release and then polishing it up more, they just released it anyway. And the funny part is I mean, with a live service like this game, right? You can't really sustain it with 500 players and less, which is right now it's getting less than 500 players. That's not an MMO. I mean, even New World hasn't reached that, and people are saying that New World's dead. So, yeah, I don't know. I'll read here what Noah said. Emancipation of I haven't seen that movie actually. Have you, Twiz or Jaboon?
I haven't.
I have not. I am behind. Hold on.
Yeah, that's a great question though. I wish I saw the movie to tell you if it, if it worked more than the Suicide Squad movies or not.
Is he talking about the Birds of Prey?
Oh, are you talking about like Birds of Prey maybe? Yeah, I heard about that. I didn't see it, but I did hear about that.
Yeah, he's talking about Birds of Prey. I liked the first one. It was definitely better. Um, I've seen both of them. It was definitely better than Suicide Squad for sure, and I think that's because honestly, I think is what made it work. So that movie work over Suicide Squad is they were able to focus on one character over having to focus on an entire group in the span of an hour and a half or 2 hours. I can't remember how long those movies ran for,
I was about to
but
say the same thing as someone that didn't see the Harley Quinn Birds of Prey movie. I feel like as you hit the nail on the head right there, focusing on one character at a time gives a lot more depth and richness to that character versus trying to like just cram in all these characters
well, and
small
let's be honest. Let's be honest. Suicide Squad, the majority of people that went to see it was for Harley Quinn. The majority. Not many people came to see it for Killshot or the Boomerang Dude or
Fucking Jared Leto joke.
I was about to say
Right.
pimped out Joker.
Right.
Oh, that did not look
yeah,
like the Joker.
the
I'm sorry.
Joker, that was no. So yeah, that's what I think it was. Is they didn't have to focus on multiple characters and going in depth into those characters and giving a little bit of a backstory to each one. They could just focus on the main character, which was Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
And yeah, just it's really that simple.
I'm
Most
more of a
people-
Marvel guy myself. Definitely prefer Marvel movies. But it's not like I'm gonna blindly be like DC sucks. I just prefer Marvel movies. I think that they're better done and stories overall better. And I think DC could learn a little bit from their older movies in regards to like Batman, for example, and Superman, where they focused on one main character and fleshed them out very well. And I think that's why Twiz liked the Harley Quinn movie more, is they could expand on that character a lot more. And you're welcome, Noah. And they could essentially just enrich that character versus like they said, glossing over a dozen or so characters that really people weren't that invested in to begin with. And I think Marvel does this really well with their movies in regards to like Thor, which the recent one was garbage, but besides the point. Aquaman, which also sucked. Wait a minute, is Aquaman Marvel or DC? I don't even know.
I think it's
sure.
Marvel.
Okay. But yeah, it's I'm in the boat with
Oh
Twizzy.
no, he's DC.
Oh, DC. Okay, that one sucked and it flopped. But the ideology of focusing on less but giving more in-depth story, I think, is a better route to go. And I mean, yeah, I think the game is like, it's just on so many fronts, it's done poorly. That's the bad part. It's buggy. It's very repetitive. There's only like 3 mission types where you protect an objective. You have 3, it's like a capture the flag sort of thing, or defense, where you defend 3 objectives, or you escort missions. So like you escort this tank or whatever. And a lot of the story, and it doesn't make sense really. So you have this main protagonist in the game that can hack anything, right? But you're sent on missions to go help her hack something. So it's like, well, you just said you could hack anything, so why do you need us to go there?
Well, needed help, yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's very poorly written. It's rushed. And it's not even like rushed as in it took a little bit to develop. It took a long time to develop this game. It was not a short development cycle.
So then there's
Right.
no excuse for it to be the way that it is.
Exactly.
It's like DC just needs to stop focusing on games. They need to stop doing game stuff. We saw how bad.
I don't think that's necessarily the case.
Their
I do
focus is
think,
misplaced.
yeah, well, there's that, but the reason why I think Marvel does better than DC is because Marvel uses DC's mistakes and fallacies and learns from them, right? And they've been doing that since their inception because I believe DC was around maybe a half a decade before Marvel was. Let me make sure. Yeah, DC was made in 1935 and Marvel came in 1940. So,
It's 5 years, yeah.
yeah, so a half a decade. So, I think that that's been the whole thing is Marvel learns from Big Brother's mistakes, right?
I mean,
Um,
I would say Marvel is a lot bigger than DC right now.
well, they're bigger, yeah, but I'm saying older brother.
Oh, okay, gotcha, yeah.
Okay, so instead of focusing on because DC has so many characters and so many comic books, um, and a lot of people don't even know a lot of them, especially these days. Whereas Marvel focused on, you've got Iron Man, got I believe X-Men is Marvel, right? The
I think
X-Men.
so. I feel like it's
Yeah. So,
yep.
you've got Iron Man, X-Men, the Incredible Hulk, so on and so forth. And they kind of focused on those, you know, main characters because you got to think way back in the day, the Incredible Hulk had its own TV shows in black and white, right? And that was actually a huge hit. It ran for quite a while.
Mm.
Um, so and that's what I think it is. I think DC's biggest moneymaker was Batman.
And Superman, yeah. Well, I think
And
Superman in the TV business was a little bit bigger than Batman.
possibly, but you also have to think that they had all those Batman series way back in the day, black and white and
Oh,
even into color.
I don't even.
So,
Yeah, I don't remember those. That's way before
yeah,
my time.
the Batman and Robin,
Oh, okay.
it was before my time too, but, I used to own a comic book store. So, I'm kind
Those
of
Batman movies slap
versed
though.
I
in
think
that.
one of the main things that I feel like could have worked in this aspect here is why not focus your efforts on another Batman game? Batman Arkham Knight it is still till this day regarded as one of like the best Batman games released.
I think because people are still buying the Arkham series
They
and are
want
still
another
playing
one.
it
They really
and
do
are
want
still
another one.
streaming it.
hmm
And who knows, it may be in development, early stages, and just hasn't been announced.
I think if they took their efforts and put it into that, that would have been a much better,
But
uh,
yeah,
better game than this live service garbage that we got.
the Batman movies, video games, uh, the Batman animated series have always done really well. I
Also, a
remember growing
Superman
up as a
game.
kid.
Do we have any Superman games?
There have been some Superman
Oh, there have.
games,
Okay.
although
Not to the
they're
degree of Batman games.
lackluster.
Mm,
No, not to the degree, and they're also lackluster because think about it, you're flying around as Superman. You're basically,
unkillable God.
unkillable.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think the last Superman game that I played and it was fun because you could fly, right? I think it was on PlayStation 2.
Anybody
Don't
remember
quote
Superman 64?
don't quote me on that. But it was fun for about an hour. And then it was like, okay, what are we doing here? Because those graphics back then, you couldn't like do damage to the buildings and stuff. You
Oh,
couldn't fly
yeah.
through them or
Yeah.
anything like that. You couldn't do a lot of cool stuff.
hmm
It was just mainly, you're running around, you're fighting, you're putting out fires with your icy breath, and exploding certain things with your vision or whatever.
Yeah, the
So
laser eyes.
it's like, okay.
Yeah, it gets old real fast, and I think that's one of the main issues I had with the whole Superman character in general. I don't like Superman. I think it's very poorly written in the sense that it's in a universe that's way too underpowered for him. He's just so brokenly overpowered. It's no longer interesting.
That's fair. I like the grittiness that
Well, sorry, Jaboon.
okay, go ahead.
They should put Superman in the Omni-Man universe,
That I think
or-
that would be
or-
much better. Yeah.
or a Superman versus Omni-Man
Hmm.
type thing.
Yeah.
That would be entertaining
Absolutely.
because Omni-Man, it's kind of a rip-off of Superman if you really look into the story and stuff. But
Mhm.
still, I think that would be one badass, brutal fight.
And
Like-
actually, now that you mentioned that, you can kind of compare this in also a Marvel way in the sense that Captain Marvel. A lot of people don't know in the comics, Captain Marvel is crazy overpowered. And actually, if you're probably to put them head to head against Superman and Captain Marvel would decimate Superman almost instantaneously. Captain Marvel has literally destroyed planets.
Oh yeah.
So in the movie, when if you guys, we all watched Endgame here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so I can, in the movies, they didn't really portray Captain Marvel not even like a tenth of how overpowered Captain Marvel really is. And realistically, if you really wanted to be nitty gritty, Captain Marvel would have decimated Thanos if she really wanted to.
Unless he Thanos snapped her ass.
Which even then, if she was gonna come close to dying, she has the power of a star in her, so her death would have literally just completely evaporated Earth. Which she didn't die. I'm not saying.
Would it have though? Because
Yeah.
the Thanos snaps makes it like you were never there.
Oh, you're talking. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, that's true. You could. Yeah, that's definitely something that could happen. But I'm more saying like in the sense like we can compare Superman and Captain Marvel because Superman obviously is DC and Captain Marvel is Marvel.
Right.
But I think that's why Marvel went a different approach in the sense that they toned her down a lot for the movies, and they kind of just give us a little glimpse of what her power could be. In the one scene, you guys saw Captain Marvel or not? I don't know. Did
Yeah.
you did? Okay. There's that one scene where she takes out the ship fleet pretty much instantaneously. You got a little bit of a touch of like, okay, she's that powerful. She can actually do that. But yeah, it's both characters I'm not a huge fan of, to be honest with you, because they're just so powerful. There's almost no downsides. I mean, at least Superman. Sure, Superman has kryptonite. Big deal. Superman versus Batman. I think that movie in itself is BS because realistically, the first scene that Superman sees Batman, he could have killed him instantaneously, within less than a second. So
They had
The
to
movie
do
was just all
something,
over the
otherwise
place.
there wouldn't have been a movie.
exactly right.
Which Batman is known for being a master strategist and tactician and stuff like that. So, I get what you're saying, and yes, in reality, that's probably what would have happened, but it wouldn't have made for
of
for a
course,
good
it would have been a
movie.
horrible movie, right?
And for someone like you, yeah, it was a garbage movie. But for other fans and stuff like that, it was actually a pretty good movie.
To each their own. To each their own. So another thing, speaking of the entertainment world today, there's a Fallout TV show that is announced.
Hmm.
Did anyone hear about that?
I actually didn't hear about it. I'm
It's-
surprised considering I'm a Bethesda fanboy.
Is it gonna be as buggy as the game?
Oh yeah, it's got 16 times the
And 16 times the resolution.
yeah.
4 times the file size to download to your computer.
So basically they're saying it's akin to like imagine a Fallout 5 that you can't play. It's like that.
All right, I gotta ask before you finish.
Already they're getting off on the wrong foot.
I gotta ask, was this Todd Howard that announced this? Was he talking about this?
I do believe this was Todd Howard that kind of said that.
God damn it, Todd!
So it will be as buggy as the game.
It will.
So another thing,
It's gonna have new video rendering technology.
right, new CGI technology. I do believe it's a female protagonist that's in the show. I don't have a problem with that personally, but
I mean, neither do I.
we'll see. But you know, what do we think about a Fallout themed or a Fallout universe show here? Do you think that's something that could take off? Is there interest in this? I don't know.
I don't know. Honestly, I really don't know. I have a bad experiences with video games being
Going to
turned
shows.
into movies.
No, it's a show. It's not a movie.
Uh,
I mean,
Regardless,
Well,
regardless, same
Last of Us.
You know,
Last of Us was great.
hold
Witcher
on.
was good too, but it was books originally.
Right. So The
Okay.
Witcher can't even be in this conversation.
The Witcher,
Because-
Last of Us, both amazing.
Hold up. But The Witcher was a book before it was ever a video game.
Okay, that's true.
They
That's true.
used the books to draw off their stuff. So The Witcher can't even be a part of this conversation.
Okay.
Okay, fair game.
But The Last of Us, yes, that was great. But that was one of the first movies or television shows that I've seen that was actually good.
I know it brings a good, point here. He says, I think it could
Right.
do well, perhaps
If it's
for a
done,
limited series if done right, of course. Yeah, I
right,
completely
if it's
agree.
if it's done right, but if they let's talk about the elephant in the room. If they do what they did, like Resident Evil, for example, all right. Well, let's not talk. Let's not skimp out on that elephant. It's gonna flop. Now, I will say, The Last of Us was good.
Great.
Twisted Metal. A lot of people there was a lot that didn't like it, but there was a lot that did, and I think that Twisted Metal was some of the first video games that I played on PlayStation 1. I think that they did that show justice. I believe it's on Peacock. And
Yeah,
it
it's
wasn't
good. I watched
even
it.
gonna be renewed, but they did decide to renew it for second season, which I'm happy about that. But yeah, like Noah said, if they do it as a limited series and they do it correctly, and they put the time, effort, and money that will deserve into it, and not try to just shill out some bull crap for what they think are uber loyal fans, they'll be all right. But if they just serve up shit pie and expect everybody to gobble it down like it's mama's cobbler, it's not going to be good.
As someone that's a connoisseur of the Fallout franchise, and I think Jaboon, you played a lot of Fallout, right?
I mean, yes, I've played a bunch of Fallout. I don't know. I think it's gonna be a real like a hit or miss situation. I think it like you say, it could be really good, but at the same time, it could be really bad. Because I mean, Fallout's a series where, granted, it's got its story. Every game's got its story, but the whole game is like pretty much based around your choices and shaped around how you make the game. Pretty much like how you build your reputation, how you build your character, everything you do in order. It's so open. I think depending on like what era they base it off of and how they write the characters and what happens, it's gonna be real hit or miss. But I don't know.
And
Hopefully
from
it'll
the
be good.
I hope so. From the older Fallout games, right? Like 1, 2, 3, New Vegas. There's a lot of mysteries actually that are pretty in depth and a lot of Easter eggs. There's a lot of side stories and stuff that they could pull off of. Fallout 4 though, it has it, yes, but not even remotely to the degree that the older ones did.
Mm-mm.
And not to mention, there's only I think 3 endings or 4 endings in Fallout 4, but there isn't one. So like, how are you gonna have a series come to a definitive end or at least a gratifying end when there's different endings? What if the player did something else and then they have a different ending? Then I don't know. It is interesting because it's like you said. I mean, this is a series that has branching story. Each playthrough might be a little different. You might have some other outcome. It's not all the same. And another interesting thing is that I don't think there's any Fallout books, right? Is there a Fallout books?
I believe there's like a hand. Let me look it up because I know there's.
Yeah, well, you look that up. The source material for like Last of Us, The Witcher, it's very rich, very well renowned material. You know, top sellers probably. So
There's a new Vegas graphic novel.
I think that came out when the game came out. I don't think that was before. So okay, gotcha.
And I think the reason why like The Last of Us did so well to begin with, even like being transported to TV media, is the game already plays kind of like a movie about it too.
Absolutely
Well,
right.
it does, and The Last of Us does have comic books.
Oh,
Right.
okay, all right. Which is
The source
interesting.
material is there and it's easy to translate.
Very, yeah, it does play like a movie. You're right. Well, with Fallout, it does not play like a movie. It's definitely not. It's your classic Bethesda open world exploration sort of game. How does this translate to a TV show? I really don't know, honestly. I'm kind of curious.
You know, see somebody going to their Pit Boy and using VATS like 10 times in one episode.
Yeah, like how is that gonna work? It's gonna be very interesting. I'm with Noah here. I think as a limited series, maybe it could be pretty good. But
I mean, had I known about Twisted Metal while it was in production, I would have been saying the same thing.
Well,
But
the thing with Twisted Metal is it was the Twisted Metal
Did you watch
universe. I watched a few episodes with you, like I glanced over and stuff. I didn't watch the whole series. No, I'm just talking about purely.
so good.
I'm probably
That's very good.
for me it looked a little jank, but maybe
Sweet
that's
Tooth.
the charm.
Sweet
of it.
Tooth was my favorite fucking character.
Sweet Tooth and Stew, dude. Sweet Tooth and Stew.
Yes.
I was just gonna say, like, being in the Fallout universe, that's a lot of CGI that you have to do. There's gonna be a lot of labor to bring that world alive because you're in the Fallout universe. It's post-nuclear. You have Pip Boys, monsters that are not resembling humans or zombies. They're these morph like beings, if you will. I don't know. So it'll be interesting. I think this is not going to be you can't low budget this. I mean, I don't think you can.
Now, here's my question. Have they said that, is this going to be live action? Have I missed that? Or are they saying it's going to be live action or animated? Or...
I think it's live action. Let me just check real quick.
Pretty sure it'll be live action.
Yeah, it is going to be live action, yes.
Okay, that's going to be a really interesting take in like how they're going to pull it off then.
Yeah.
Like you say, that's a lot of CGI. It's going to be a lot of, props and all that.
That's what I'm saying is there's definitely going to be a lot of technology going into this.
They're not going to be able to skimp on the technology.
Oh,
and
no.
They're definitely not going to be able to skimp on the actors and actresses because it takes a very well-versed actor or actress to be able to portray those props on screen correctly.
I think the main actress is going to be Ella Purnell. Not sure if that rings a bell. Another notable one is Moises Arias is going to be in it. I'm not good really with actors, so I don't know if that rings any bells to anyone, but there's not any huge names that I'm seeing personally. But that doesn't mean anything really. I'm not trying to say
it doesn't mean that it's bad. It doesn't mean that it's good either, because it does take it takes a special kind of person to be able to look scared or look angry whenever what they are actually seeing, not on screen, but what they're seeing in front of their face is like a tennis ball.
Right.
Or like somebody in like a green screen suit.
Right. Or a green foam blob.
And so the first episode's actually set to air pretty soon. It's April 12th. So not a lot of
soon.
Yeah, not a lot of time to kind of clearly this is already done. So they've already finished recording this. There is a trailer and all that, and we might actually react to that later in a different separate video. But yeah, so this is clearly already done. It's already set to release. I believe it's going to be airing. Okay, so it's on Amazon Prime Video, so it's gonna be a Prime Video thing.
Got that.
Of course it is, because Prime Video is gonna have to get their additional $2.99 for
Every month
for
just
no
no ads.
Yeah.
no ads. It's
Now,
Funny how it's a
okay.
post-apocalyptic wasteland and we're having advertisements on it.
very true. Very
I
true.
will say though, to like I guess finish off my take on the whole like Fallout TV thing.
Mhm.
Bethesda, you can't treat this like your games. You gotta put in the work with this one. Don't half-ass it, please. And I will like it a lot if they actually expand like some of the factions or
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool. Like
Some
things
of the
that didn't get
lore,
touched
some of
much.
the background of them.
Exactly.
Right. There's a
Like,
lot of source
give me
material.
more shit about like the Enclave and all that. That'd be
The
fucking
Minutemen,
cool.
yeah.
I'm just gonna go out there and say, hey, it would have been a lot easier to do a Far Cry series. Honestly, if you guys
That'd be
didn't play
cool
Far
though.
Cry, those
That'd be interesting, but I feel
I
like
want to see what happened to Jason Brody after Far Cry 3. That'd be cool.
mm-hmm.
I do think that in today's world, that's kind of. I feel like it's a more risque topic or not topic, but video game franchise to try to make a series out of, because there's a lot of religious undertones in Far Cry, and I don't know if Amazon wants to delve into that right now.
A lot of religious undertones in The Handmaid's Tale too. You mean?
I don't know.
And Amazon doesn't have to do it. HBO, Netflix, Hulu. Somebody
Everyone that
get
like
on
has been
it.
grabbed by HBO, I think we're gonna notice has been like bangers. Like we've seen Last of Us.
Well, speaking of HBO Max, right? Harry Potter, we have a due date or when it's gonna come out.
Release date.
When's that release date? Let me
Expected
hear
release date. So it's expected to air in 2026. So we still have 2 years, unfortunately.
I do like to hear that though. That means that there will be some love and care given to.
Yes, and we do have some more details here in terms of specifics. What are they basing it off of, and stuff like that. So the first season, I'm thinking, they are saying that it's going to cover Philosopher's Stone. That's what they're starting out with. That's what the first season's going to be about. We'll see what.
I mean, that makes sense.
Oh yeah, I mean, it pretty much follows the movie order in that.
It's probably going to be an 8-season run, and it'll go from movie 1 to the 8th movie, which was Deathly Hallows Part 2.
That's what I'm thinking too. It would be very interesting, and I think almost this would probably shock everyone, but in a good way, if they kept going after the supposed 8th season with Deathly Hallows Part 2 into the Cursed Child and possibly even more. You mentioned that, I think last one of the podcasts before, you mentioned that this could be like a little avenue here where we could see the story past the movies.
It very well could be. I'm not saying that it's not, but I do know, because I have been an HBO fanboy way before it was a streaming service. And HBO is known to only do 8 to 10 seasons.
Yeah, well,
per series.
I'm just hoping that's the case, but I mean, yeah, you're probably right. It's definitely a hope. I don't think it's gonna happen either, unfortunately. But yeah, it's very exciting to me as a huge Harry Potter fan, Wizarding World fanatic. Me, Twiz, and I think Jaboon might be. Yep. Okay.
I got my Harry Potter PJ bottoms on. So.
There you go. I think
right
this is
there.
exciting for all of us.
I will say though, I mean, we did see with like Game of Thrones, they made House of Dragons. Was that? I can't remember off the top of my head.
That's a spinoff.
I mean, it was a spinoff, but like Game of Thrones was so good that they did a spinoff.
Right, and that's probably what they'll do with Harry Potter is they'll do the Harry Potter run. They'll do all their analytics and see how well it did, stuff like that. If it does very well, they'll probably do a spinoff.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones. I don't give a shit. Everybody wants to put that show down because of its last season, but at the end of the day, that made history. That show did things that no other show did before it, and no other show has done since it.
And that show was the shit for a long time.
It really was. That's why it has the House of the Dragon spinoff, and I think there's 2 or 3 more in the pipeline. So,
I will say if we get that Harry Potter does well, and we get if we do get a spinoff of the main series, that would be a huge W for HBO and for Harry Potter fans.
Now
oh,
that
Regardless,
yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
same.
now
And
give me my Last of Us season 2 already.
right.
He's like, I got my
Um,
popcorn ready. Let me see that shit.
Did you guys hear any news about that? Did we talk about that? Because there are some details about that.
I didn't hear
I haven't
about
heard
it.
anything
So
yet.
there is going to be a different main actress that from the previous Ellie that we got. They're saying because the season 2 is set to be 5 years in the future. So
Yeah, because she's older.
yeah. Which I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, I think the actress that played Ellie, she's pretty much at the age that Ellie
I
would
mean,
be.
it came out in 2023, right? Or was it
I think it was
sooner
earlier than that. No, I do believe.
It's not expected to even release till 2025, although it has been in production and has been being filmed. So that's probably why she wasn't.
Oh no, it
old
wasn't
enough.
20. It was the beginning of 2023. Okay.
So yeah, like I don't know, maybe.
So there's a lot of Polygon at least is saying that Pedro Pascal is gonna be back. Bella Ramsey are likely to be back. Which one is
Bella Ramsey was the one that was playing as Ellie.
Ellie? Okay, then.
Sure.
Um.
Let me make sure.
Yeah.
Bella Ramsey is.
Oh, okay. So okay. Well, I don't know. There's a lot of different information. There's some people are saying that Bella Ramsey's not going to be coming back, but I guess Polygon's saying that she is. We shall see. But this is what I think. I mean, honestly, I think Bella Ramsey kind of is at the age that Ellie would be. So to me, it doesn't make sense having her swapped out. But if they do, it is what it is. You know, Bella Ramsey does have that like child, youthful face. So I guess maybe they don't want to have that be. They don't want to have you mistake Ellie for being a kid still. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. But I'm very excited for Last of Us season 2. The season 1 was amazing. They stuck to the game pretty closely, I would say, and they really did bring out the spirit of the story, and just, they did it well overall. So I'm very excited. I'm curious. Any other
I hope
thoughts?
it'll be good. I think it will be good.
Yeah, I think so too.
She will still be in the show. Yes.
Nice.
All right. Well, there you go. Excuse what I said then. I guess whatever I read was just speculation. So another little thing that's been happening in the gaming industry now, switching gears here. Steam. Have you guys noticed there's a lot of fake games popping up on Steam lately?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that, but I guess we'll all pretty much talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is it? I
Yep.
believe it's funny too because it's been happening with a lot of games that were considered scams as well. For those who do not know, what's been going on with Steam lately is a lot of people have been like getting, I guess, access to be able to publish games, and they will label them as like Helldivers 2, have exact same pictures, screenshots, and everything, a lower price tag. You buy the game, you download it. It's a completely different key from the original game, and you can launch it. And for all you know, it could be a crypto miner, malware, or a game that's just like some shitty Unity game. And I believe what was it almost in just like a small time span. Was it over 820 or even more than that got uploaded, which is absolutely fucking nuts.
Yeah,
And
Valve,
I'm
you got to start screening your stuff here. I know a lot of the Helldivers ones, they were random games before, and then they changed everything to look exactly like Helldivers, and then hopes to selling that. I know there was a couple fake Pal World games that came out. Basically,
Okay,
anything
so
that's popular. Hmm?
let me ask you this though: to what end, right? Because so Steam or Valve, whatever you want to call it, um, has the policy that you can have the game for this many hours and still be able to request a refund.
Hmm.
What do they think they're doing? Like, people are going to buy the game, they're going to download it, they're going to boot it up. It's not going to be the game they purchased. They're going to submit a support ticket.
Well, with
The
any
game's going to be refunded.
right, with any scam, right, the hopes is that you already know that 90% to 99% of the people are gonna obviously do that, but you're hoping that that 1% doesn't. Whether it be they're too lazy, they don't know any better, maybe some older gamer or something on like a Steam Deck just bought it, doesn't know how to refund or doesn't know the policy. That's what they're banking on. The scammers, it is.
Not
So
just that, like I pointed out too, some of these did have like actual like malware or crypto miners in them.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
So you also have that too. So I just thought this is crazy. I learned about this back when Helldivers. There was a whole Reddit and everyone went into kind of panic mode because there was a Helldivers that was $5 cheaper, and it looked exactly identical to the real Helldivers. So that's where I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And then all of a sudden now there's like over 800 that are starting to do this. It's like, what's going on? So I think Steam here should have like some sort of screening process when people try to update their listings to something else or even try to create a new listing where if it matches a verified game, it should automatically just flag that to be removed, right?
These people should also be able to be sued.
Absolutely,
agreed.
absolutely.
I do want to point out the cherry on top of the situation. Speaking of scams, y'all we all remember the day before,
Oh God.
somebody actually, okay, one of these scammers, they re-uploaded the day before for like $20. And then the game was just like it was like some like cat and mouse game or some shit.
What the heck?
I'm just like, out of all the games that you would fucking do that with, you just did that with like one of the most notorious scam games.
Yep.
As those developers said on my Tona, shit happened.
It really
Yeah.
does.
It really does.
But speaking of suing and people being
And
sued,
disaster.
Yuzu has been, they were being sued by Nintendo. It was settled out of court, and they got shut down. I already know kind of how Jabin feels about this, but
So this is
what
an
do you guys
update
think?
to a previous topic, by the way. So last episode we talked about Yuzu and Nintendo kind of getting into it. This is the outcome. So we have an update on the situation here. Jabin, go ahead. I know you're just eager here. This is your
All right.
this is your baby
this
right
is
here.
this is my segment. Okay. So I do want to apologize to anybody that did watch last episode. I was very biased towards Yuzu. I was not looking at the whole, lawsuit from Legal Eyes, right? I looked at it without going into, major specifics. There was a lot of things behind the scenes that wasn't very ethical on Yuzu's part and the Yuzu community. And for that, I am sorry because, that plays a big part in why this lawsuit was open and shut in almost under 72 hours. We were only talking about it the other day, and me, I was like, "Hey, this is an easy case." And Yuzu's side, this is purely just pro-consumer. No, it was not pro-consumer. Yuzu was doing a lot of not scummy. I mean, kind of not. It's a
Shady.
Shady,
it's a
very
morally
shady
gray area.
things.
What Yuzu was doing.
Hmm.
Were they doing a great thing with emulation? Absolutely. But charging for early access for updates that you could get, 3 or some months early that have performance changes, increases, being able to play a game that's not even out yet already. Tears of the Kingdom,
And
um,
Metroid Dread.
and which Metroid Dread, all these leak games you can play them early with an early access patch with Yuzu, and because of that, that's why Yuzu ended up getting sued by Nintendo. At
And
first, I thought maybe it was just because of the emulator, but there was a lot to it that I didn't know at first.
And the big thing as to how they got so many subscribers was the fact that if they subscribed and paid Yuzu, they would be able to play these games before they even released. And that was the big issue right there. Is Nintendo was all like, "Oh no,
Well,
you are not,"
that's the thing, right? Is at that point they themselves are essentially acting as a Nintendo marketplace. So
and they're not.
they're not. Nintendo has the rights to that. They are the company that made that, whether it be first party or third party studios. You can't just have a program that has a subscription that acts like a Switch, and now you're offering what is it, early access to games that aren't even out. These games aren't even released yet. So you just took all of that potential profit that Nintendo's banking on by developing that game right out of their hands, pretty much.
Right.
And that's the
Exactly.
thing is when you go from having just early access, which is just getting performance increases. You guys specifically advertised being able to play Tears of the Kingdom early, or TOTK, whatever you guys want to call it, early, as long as you had a dumpable ROM. And I guarantee you, if they would not have advertised that or tried to market themselves towards that, we would still see Yuzu up right now.
Yep.
This wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
If they wouldn't have tried to like cash in on that hype and somebody having a ROM already and spreading it like wildfire, we
And
would probably still have it
the
going.
bad part about it is I know I heard a lot of people saying, "Oh, they were promoting piracy."
In the Discord, yeah.
Honestly, they weren't promoting piracy technically. They were pirating it, so stealing it, and then turning around and selling it to their users, which, in my opinion, is even worse because you snatch someone else's property, intellectual property, right? And then you turned around and you sold it at a profit to benefit yourself.
And the way they did
So
this is a little convoluted because they didn't sell the ROM. They sold you the software to use the ROM. So it's almost like they're half of the problem per se. But nonetheless, they are part of the problem because they're charging you for it. That's first of all. Second of all, they didn't take any countermeasures. They even, as Jabun said, they advertised the fact that you could do
right,
this.
right, and that's more than likely what got them in so much trouble, so much hot
Yeah, I
water.
think Nintendo, like, they got all this set up. They talked to their lawyers. The lawyers gave them the green light. Like, you got a easy lawsuit right here. As soon as Yuzu saw what they entailed and
They
Yuzu
settled.
talked to their lawyers, it's and if you look at the amount of damages, it's exactly the amount that Yuzu made off of the membership costs. I think it was something like 29,950 or something a month, and that over 2 years was around 2.4 million. So they had to
Yep.
pay all of that back to Nintendo because, yet again, like I said, they were essentially stealing um a lot of profit from
Intellectual
Nintendo. I mean,
property.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can't make a emulator, I think, for something that's a current console because Nintendo's actively developing for the Switch. They are focusing on releases on the Switch. You're not preserving games per se at that point. You're directly competing with Nintendo at that point.
Yep.
With like the 3DS, the Game Boy Advance, and Nintendo 64, all the older consoles, Nintendo doesn't sell that. It's past end of life. You're preserving those games. Like that I can see, right? It is not illegal in the US to preserve games. You have the right to preserve your software, hardware, etc.
Well, you have the right to emulate.
You have the right to emulate.
Period.
Right.
You
But
just don't have the right to take something. And this is even, let's say you bought the game, right? Let's say you bought it digitally, right? And you somehow managed to be able to sell not just that one copy, but multiple copies. Well, now you're in a legal bind at that point. You can't do that.
yeah,
These people didn't even buy the copies. They got it from nefarious means and turned around and sold a subscription to a service that, hey, bonus, you get to play these games
yep.
early period,
before they're even released. Yeah.
before they're even released. So yeah, I see where Nintendo was going. That is it a win for gamers? Not really.
Now hold on. Actually, I'm gonna bring up a point that I think both of you probably did not think about. So Nintendo going through with all this, right? This is now set a precedent for all the emulators that are charging something, which I think there was a few that were actually doing the kind of same model in the sense that they were charging for using their most up-to-date software, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously not a Switch emulator, but besides the point. It's kind of set a precedent that these people should only take donations. They shouldn't be charging you for the service. So I think that's a win for gamers here because, you know, emulation is supposed to be this community-based thing. We're preserving games. We're playing older games. It's about having fun.
well, yeah,
I get
I see-
everyone wants a piece of the pie, right? I get it. You know, I do get it. Doing it through donations, sure. I see that as very innocent. You know, you're not requiring anyone to do it. But requiring a membership to access these sort of things, I think that's a dangerous precedent. And I think we saw Nintendo kind of like show all of those companies that are trying to do that, that you might be next. You know, you might be next.
Yeah. Well, as a wise man once said, greed will imprison us all.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Now, we'll say, in response to Nintendo saying, it did have a pretty big deal with Grizzly King being pirated. I don't know if Nintendo hopes that them shutting down Yuzu will stop, Yuzu from being used or being distributed, but there's definitely going to be a lot of copies and stuff still being shared all over. I'm not saying anybody should do that. No, please don't do that. We're not advising you to do anything here. But I will say that I think that this will, if anything, will make Yuzu blow up more to an extent. I feel like people are going to go out of their way to look for a copy now.
For now, yes, but
It'll die down within like a month or two.
in a year or
Mhm.
two, it won't be a thing.
But what about if they did this right now as a strategy because they're about to release the Switch 2? And if they eliminate Yuzu, there's no one that's even going to try to make an emulator for the Switch 2 because they're scared. So, sure, you can have all your copies of Yuzu that emulate Switch 1 games, but we just released the Switch 2, so good luck. What if that's their plan and they waited that long for that?
It could be.
And it very well could be. It could also be that, hey, maybe Nintendo wants an even bigger slice of the pie and says, you know what, if you don't want to buy a Switch 2, here you go. You can emulate it on your PC if you pay us, X amount of dollars for lifetime or X amount of dollars monthly
Yeah.
or X amount of dollars yearly.
I don't know if I'd mind being able to emulate on my PC, endorsed or sanctioned, I guess, by Nintendo. If I know
If
they
it's
have
at a fair price.
exactly. I know they do have actual job listings about emulation engineers and stuff like that. Now I have no idea what goes on in Nintendo. But if they were to offer a service like Yuzu at a decent price that's not predatory to emulate on your PC, maybe even as an alternative to buying a Switch or whatever,
I'd do it.
I wouldn't
I mean,
I wouldn't complain. I honestly I would be okay with that.
Hell, I'd do
mean-
it. Let me play Mario on my PC and not worry about getting a virus.
let me mod my Tears of the Kingdom on PC without having to go download something from a shady website or go pay somebody else. If I can do it through official means, I'll absolutely do it through official means.
And
if
if
Nintendo,
yeah,
if
sorry,
you're
go ahead.
willing to give us that, like, I'm set. I think the best thing that could happen is hopefully with them having Yuzu source code and all that now,
They
these
can reverse
emulation
engineer it,
engineers-
right?
Exactly. And release it as their own thing and let people mess with it as they please as long as they're paying for it every month. Have some really tight DRMs on it so people can't just share it.
Here's a business pitch, Nintendo. Free of charge, right? But if it blows up, you owe me something, okay?
We need royalties. YHT.
Right. So here, listen, Nintendo, right? You have Xbox Game Pass. That is tremendously successful, hugely popular. Everyone loves it, universally praised, right? Bring out Yuzu, put all your games or bundle a ton of games into it, offer it as a monthly service, profit. You're welcome.
Or a yearly
Or a yearly
service.
subscription,
annual,
whatever.
yes.
Nintendo game service.
Exactly. And if you want, you could make it into people can purchase or / rent new games at a discounted price on Yuzu, or well, whatever Nintendo's version of Yuzu would be. So if you want Tears of the Kingdom, you want to play it on your PC on launch day, sure, but you have to pay an extra $5 a month to access it, or whatever, or you just buy it outright on PC with Yuzu, and there you go. You've essentially not only made a Switch, and that's your portable gaming device, sure, but well, okay, now that I think about it, that would kind of hurt the Switch sales because
Not necessarily.
you have the Steam Deck, you can install Windows on it, you have a better Switch.
I mean, here's what I would do if the Switch 2 has good enough hardware. Y'all have seen the Quest and the Quest 2. Being able to hook it up to your PC, play your VR games on PC.
Yep.
Why not with this whole, now I'm pretty much owning Yuzu source code, have it be somehow connected to the Switch 2 if that's possible. Get your Switch 2, be able to play your stuff from your Switch on your PC with this emulation software, be able to transfer your saves and all that back to your Switch 2, play it on the go. Whenever you want to play on PC, hook it up that way. Let people have that portable option that still runs it well, but also play it on PC if they want to pay for that. I would pay for that shit in a heartbeat.
I actually really do like that. Maybe it could access like the ROM or whatever from the Switch, so it verifies that you have it. Bam, you can just play it on your computer.
Give people an official means. Like, people don't have to go jailbreak their shit that way to play their stuff on their preferred platform, but they can still do it through your means and pay for it with your means. I would pay for that.
Yeah, I like that. That's a pretty good option. I also think having an e-store on PC where you just have an emulator and you can buy games for your Yuzu whatever, and maybe that could also have your save sync over or whatever, or your game syncs over. That would also be cool. Whatever it is, we want Nintendo games on PC. It's 2024 Nintendo. Come on, like really, you're missing out on a huge market here.
Yeah, but we'll just Yuzu in general, and now with it being in Nintendo's hands, with it being shut down.
Mm-hmm.
To anybody who owns Yuzu, you don't have to worry about your copy going down or not being able to use it or anything. If you've already installed it, you're fine. If you already have it, there's nothing to worry about here. It's in like its peak edition. It's done. But as far as Nintendo and what they may do with the source code and everything else, that's up in the air for who knows how long. We don't know if they're just gonna sit on it and just keep it and make sure people don't try to redistribute or reverse engineer and remake Yuzu pretty much, or what.
We don't know, but they could always.
I do think the settlement's the best thing that could have happened.
Oh yeah, because if they were to actually go to to court over this, I mean, obviously they didn't really have a case to begin with, and I think that would actually like legally set a precedent for things, and I don't think anyone wanted that. Now another thing is with Nintendo having the source code, they could also push an update to break all of the Yuzu installs and stuff like that. So be careful with having Yuzu and internet access, because I'm sure that Yuzu did what's it called? Probe for updates and stuff like that over the internet. So you never know. I don't know if that would happen, to be honest. I don't think so, because they you kind of hit the nail on the coffin here. There's no more development for Yuzu, so whatever bugs come out, whatever issues arise, no one's fixing it. It's just gonna be a piece of software that's over time gonna wither away. So in that regard, they've done what they've done. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. We'll definitely see. But yeah, I think that pretty much is everything, right? Do you guys have anything else to add on?
All I'm gonna say
you'll have that.
You'll have that.
You will have that. Yeah.
Yuzu, I'll miss you dearly. Rest in peace.
Ripperonis. I do have a few announcements real quick. So one, thank you all for watching. Really appreciate you guys. It's been great seeing all the the views and stuff, and having Noah join, and hopefully more people will join to chat with us. As always, you can check us out on Spotify. Just search You'll Have That. And you can catch me on YouTube as well. Now, a few things that I wanted to announce here is the fact that we do want to do reactions to like trailers and game trailers, give our opinions and stuff. Maybe even review some TV shows as they're going. I know the Halo TV show has been a thing. Season 2 now, I think season 2 possibly. So that's something that we're definitely looking at going forward. So keep an eye out on that. Might put up a Patreon to do some like other things too. So just keep your eyes peeled. Please give me a sub. Give us a sub. Give us a follow on Spotify.
Give us everything. Give us your house.
Everything.
Don't forget to like the video.
Oh, of course, like the video and comment. We read
Turn
every
notifications on.
Turn notifications on. Click the bell. All that. But yeah, we just again thank you. Look forward to some new things coming out. We're definitely gonna try to do a little bit more and react to some more things and give our ideas and stuff. So without further ado, thank you for watching, and you guys have a great week.
Take it
Thank
easy.
you guys again. Have a good night.